All right, guys, today's video is a little bit different than most of my videos because at this juncture, I'm just strictly interested in finding out what most of you guys are doing with your downtime. We're all being asked to self-quarantine because of the coronavirus pandemic and hopefully to flatten the curve. And I know that some people have been laid off, some people have lost their jobs, and some people are just simply being asked to wait for a while to come back to work, and hopefully you can work from home, which is kind of more or less what I'm doing right now. I actually have a job that's considered essential services. I work for a utilities company down here in Central Florida, and so to sustain life and keep the wheels turning for people who do stay home, people like me have to go to work, but I'm thankful for that. Because for a week and a half, I was actually at home because I got the flu, not the coronavirus, but I got the flu, and I was down with the count for a good week. And I was just miserable, and I could have gone back to work a little bit sooner than what they recommended, but it's on such high alert. They don't want to send anybody back sooner than they have to. They wanted me to wait till I was on the upswing, and so I was out a week and a half. I was glad to go back to work. So hopefully you're able to keep things afloat. But nevertheless, if you're at home, you have to come up with something to do. You might be trapped with your children and your spouse longer than you ever have been before, but hopefully you're making the most of it. So what are you doing? Put it down in the comments below. I'm interested in knowing because I might learn something. I might find out that there's something I could do that I haven't done before, and it might be a good way for us to kind of stretch our imagination and assume new roles and find new ways of entertaining ourselves. So, yeah, when I was out for a week and a half, I watched 3 different documentaries. I mean, I watched other things too, but 3 documentaries I want to mention to you guys, which I'm sure many of you have already seen. One of them was Don't F with Cats. Don't F with Cats. Now, this has been on Netflix, I think, for quite a while. And I never even really thought about watching it, but I kind of just picked it at a venture. When I say at a venture, what I mean is like, when you pull an arrow back on a bow and you fire it off, you're just pointing the arrow in a general direction, not really settling it on a target. And you just go see where the arrow landed, and that's what you have. That's what I did with picking out this documentary. Let me tell you something. It's interesting, but it's highly disturbing because it's following the footprints of a potential serial killer is what this is all about. And he's just killing small kittens, suffocating them to death. And when I first started watching it, within the first 10 minutes, I wasn't sure if I was capable of continuing to watch it. But luckily, they take you right to the threshold, but not over it. They don't allow you to see everything this individual's doing, thank goodness, because it's really disturbing. But the documentary is fascinating. Really, I mean, I was engrossed by it. I was entertained the entire time I was watching it. I highly recommend that, but don't let your kids around when you're watching it, because I think it would be just too disturbing for them. And if you're particularly squeamish, you're going to have a hard time watching it, but I say it's still worth the time. So Don't F with Cats is a good one. I watched another one called The Disappearance of Madeleine McCann. I think that's right. And why I watched this one was because this is relevant to my age. Back in 2007, a husband and wife, they were both doctors from England. They went on vacation to Portugal, and they took their 3 children with them, 2 small twins and a 3-year-old daughter. The 3-year-old daughter was the oldest one. Well, while the parents were out drinking and eating one night, not far from their hotel room, their daughter Madeleine McCann was kidnapped, 3-year-old daughter. And I remember when this happened. And it really rocked people. It was really disturbing, and everybody kind of held on with bated breath to find out if anything had ever happened. And now it's like 13 years out, and Madeleine McCann still hasn't been found. And so you get to kind of follow the journey of the McCanns as they are desperately pleading for their daughter to be released and come back home if she's still alive. And it was, I mean, it was so the story was so intertwined with so much neglect and irresponsibility that it's actually kind of riveting. Now, it's a little bit slower than some of the other documentaries. It's 8 segments long. It did seem to move at a slower pace, but I'll tell you, for you guys, the blonde Portuguese reporter is pretty hot in this show. And maybe I shouldn't even be saying that. I don't know, but it's a good show. She's worth the price of admission. And yeah, the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, it's a real eye-opener. And I think it would behoove a lot of people, especially people who like to travel, about how to conduct yourself, and really for anybody. But the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. So the third one I watched was Tiger King. Now, this is the one it seems like everybody has seen. I mean, there are so many memes going around Instagram and Facebook that I swear that everybody's seen it. But I've watched it twice now. This is the most messed up documentary I've ever seen. I mean, these people, there's like nobody normal in this story. There's, with the exception of some women who are related to one of the men who disappeared. I don't want to give everything away. And a law enforcement officer. But really, I mean, it's just, the whole documentary is filled with nothing but weird people. I mean, I'm talking about ultra strange. In fact, you would think that it's not possible that people could be this odd and this out there, but they are. And some of the show takes place in Tampa, Florida, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump down the road from where I live. And I know a lot of people who have actually visited the Big Cat Rescue facility in Tampa. So it's very relevant to where I live, and it was interesting. But everybody's loving this documentary because it's so strange. I mean, just really bizarre. I recommend watching it. So, yeah, those are the 3 documentaries I watched. I've also been reading a lot, and I picked up a couple books from the library shortly before they shut it down to the public. And one of them I picked up was called The Black Hand by Stefan Talty. And this is about the Black Hand operation that took place back in the early 1900s. And this Italian organization that was oppressing their own people in major cities and even smaller ones through extortion and violence. And they were conducting kidnappings and killings and explosions and really interesting stuff. If you don't know what the Black Hand organization is all about, you should look it up. It's quite interesting. And then I picked up another book called The Secret Lives of Somerset Maugham. And so here's the thing. If you've watched any number of my videos, you know that Somerset Maugham is my favorite author. I mean, brilliant author. And he's had more books and plays turned into movies than any other author ever has. I think the only other author that's had, I think the author that comes second in running to him is Conan Doyle, Arthur Conan Doyle. And, but yeah, he's an amazing writer. But this book, The Secret Lives of Somerset Maugham, really, here's the thing. He had a deviant personal life, very deviant personal life. And I find this to be the case with people who have a lot of money. And he was kind of like this before he had a lot of money. But when you have as much money as he eventually did, you really pretty much have access to anything you want. And it's interesting. I'm glad I wouldn't trade my life for his, not by a long shot. So it's interesting for me to read. It's pretty long, and then I've also been reading a series of books called Time Capsule that somebody gave me. This is the year 1941. These are articles that are highlighted articles from the year 1941 in Time magazine, and these give me lots of material to use for illustrations for the points I want to talk to you guys about. So that's what I've been doing with my time. What have you been doing with yours? Have you been playing games with your kids? Have you been watching movies, television shows? What have you been doing? Going to state parks? I mean, I'd like to know, because, you know, maybe I can find something different to do. So anyway, guys, if you like my beard, look in the description box below. I can point you to in the direction of some really good beard products. That's really, other than that, that's really all I have for you. And I just wanted to see how everybody's doing. I hope you're doing great. And I'll catch you in the next one. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.